G'day, Pittsburgh Steelers fans. G'day, behind the steel curtain. My name is Mark Davison, and you're listening to Steelers Touch Down Under. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the live chat. Welcome to the audio platform. Today here, I'm sitting with, I'm kind of close to, but really far away. Maddie's out today, and I've got Tony. Tony, how you doing, mate? What's going on? You're a new Aussie.
I am a new Aussie, honorary Aussie. I am doing great. I am doing fantastic. And that was a great intro. That was a professional level intro. How are you doing, Mark? How are you doing? It's morning over there, right?
Yeah, well, I was just telling Tony off air here. I'm still waking up, and I'm pretty excited for the podcast. And I'm getting ready, and I'm like, it's 9 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, I've got an hour to go. And then 40 minutes just flew past. And I'm like, holy dooly, I got to get this show going. I got to get some notes cracking. I got to get some ideas cracking. And here we are. And like Tony and you guys in the live chat, a lot of you guys in America, I'm the odd one out. It's your 8 p.m. It's your Saturday night. So what are you guys doing for your Saturday night? How's your Saturday been, Tony?
Well, I'm gonna later on. Here's how exciting it's gonna be for me. I'm gonna go and order some breadsticks and watch some streaming TV. Well, I'm old now, so that's pretty much all I do on Saturday night. What about you? What are you going to do later on Sunday night, right? When later on it'll be Sunday night for you.
Well, today is actually Mother's Day. So I think actually Mother's Day, is it Mother's Day tomorrow in America?
Yes. Yeah. Tomorrow, May 9th.
Yeah. I think for some reason that the national holiday Mother's Day is celebrated on the same day in Australia and in America. However, I believe Father's Day is different, but yeah. I think today we're just going to watch. We have the football on today, the NRL and National Rugby League. The Manly's going really well. I've finally started winning a little bit. So might go and buy my mother some lunch and then, just chill out. But yeah, I'm still kind of waking up, and I should have got up a bit earlier, guys. But look, let's crack into the show today. We've got a lot of friends in the live chat. Stacey, Ryan, Tom, Shield twice there, 2 comments in a row. But look, let's look into the theme of the show today. And for me, look, I believe that the draft, you even covered it last night, Tony. I think the draft is, it's been set. It's been set enough on my part. So theme of today's show and the title of today's show is, are the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into the 2021 season as the underdog? What are your initial thoughts on that, Tony? And we'll go into it as the show progresses.
Oh, I think they're the underdog. He's talking about the AFC North. Yeah, they're the underdog. You have to consider the Ravens the favorites because they've been in the playoffs the last 3 years. They won the division in 2018 and 2019. Lamar Jackson, former MVP, and they made some decent moves in the not many free agent moves, but they did sign Kevin Zeitler, guard, and they signed Big Al the other day. So that's going to shore up your line a little bit. At least you would think so. They're trying to find Jackson some weapons. They already have Mark Andrews, a tight end. They're bringing in some more receivers. Rashad Bateman. They found that one from I forget his name. I wrote it down. From he was a pretty good pick in the 4th round. Tylan Wallace. I mean, not that it's going to matter. He might not be anything, but so they're trying to get him some weapons. They drafted J.K. Dobbins last year, and of course the Browns are really good on paper. They have a great defense. They added Clowney, John Johnson, the safety, and they have a ton of weapons. Their line is better, so they're definitely the underdog. But it doesn't mean anything because they were the underdog last year at this time. Nobody thought they would win more than 7, 8, 9 games. So on paper they're the underdog, but it really doesn't mean anything.
I think the only thing that has that going for us being the underdog is because, yes, we went 11-0, and then we proved the media. A lot of this show is going to be forced around the NFL media and what they think of us. Now, we proved the media that they were correct. So they said that we were 11-0, the worst team in history, the worst 11-0 team in history.
Right.
And then we proved them right, and we became 1-5. And that's why I kind of think, okay, maybe we are the underdog. Because I was watching NFL Live the other day on Foxtel or on our TV, and they got to a part where one of the analysts was talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they basically they gave them about 20-second airtime, and 2 of the other hosts just laughed, and I was like, hang on a minute. well, let's slow down a bit. Why? How? I don't know where this view is coming from. Like, I guess we did lose at the end, but you can't rate people right now at the start of this draft. The
No,
players, the players haven't snapped the ball yet. Like, they haven't. There's no mini camps, no training camps, and they're giving the Browns and the Ravens the automatic pass that they're going to beat the Steelers, and the Steelers are going to go below 500. Now, what I want to ask you, Tony, is will the Pittsburgh Steelers like playing that role as the underdog?
they always seem to thrive in that role. I mean, every time they're especially a road underdog in a primetime game or something like that, they always thrive. And in big picture, when they're not expected to do much, they usually surprise people. Remember 2010, Ben was out for 4 games. Nobody thought they would have a good year, and they made it to the Super Bowl. A couple of years ago, when Ben got hurt, everybody wrote them off. They traded their first-round pick for Minka Fitzpatrick. Everybody thought that was a future move, but it turned out it was a present move because it helped them almost make the playoffs, and it helped solidify their defense, take their defense to a whole new level. And they went 8-8, and they almost made the playoffs. So I think they do like that role. And as far as the national media, they've been downing the Steelers for years. I mean, going back to the 2019 offseason, everything that went down with Antonio Brown, they were trying to blame the Steelers for all that. Ben, Tomlin, the front office, and I think history has shown that the Steelers were probably in the right there. But either way, they didn't seem to be too keen on Big Ben coming back last year. A lot of people wrote him off, and for a while there, he was dark horse MVP candidate. So I think they do like playing that role, and I think they have a lot to prove to people in 2021.
Well, that's it. Well, Big Ben was having a really great year until near the end. But I'm just trying to get my head around and how this kind of works with the NFL media, because they have their stars. They have their stars like who's that bloke in Seattle, Russell Wilson. They have their – actually, I might even get your thoughts and your take on this. What's your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay? That seems to be a spotlight, and it's turning into like this sports drama culture where, okay, look, there's even us and I'm very blessed to be here as well. I'm blowing in from Australia. I put my hand up and said, can I please have a podcast? And that kind of worked out, right? So I've got my voice. But like, we seem to be talking about things that aren't even happening yet. Like with Aaron, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers?
I think I don't know what his deal is. I guess he has an issue with the general manager. But I think it goes back to what I always say. Why bring a young quarterback in? Why draft a guy in the first round if you know you still have your franchise quarterback on your roster? Because usually, if you look at history, it just doesn't. It always leads to problems. And if anybody should know about that is Aaron Rodgers, because when he was drafted back in 2005, and he had to wait those 3 years, evidently Brett Favre wasn't necessarily a very warm and welcoming to him for those 3 years. He felt threatened, just like Roethlisberger kind of felt threatened a few years ago when they drafted Mason Rudolph in the 3rd round. So, but Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he's always been that kind of a guy. It seems to me. I enjoy him as a quarterback. I really do. I think he's great. I think obviously he's funny in those commercials, but he seems like one of those people that just will not compromise. He won't give an inch. And when it comes to that, a lot of franchise quarterbacks are like that. They want to be the man in the franchise, and they realize how important, how much power they have within the organization. When you have a quarterback like that who's that talented and that special, I think he knows that how much that he's the most important part of the organization.
See, that's true, right? That's true in being Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Big Ben. All these guys are very similar. And they say, they're a one-man band, but when realistically speaking, there's 50 other two people on that team. Right. So, like, I don't know what I really make out of this. Aaron Rodgers want to be transferred or want to not play for the Packers. It seemed it got leaked out of somewhere. Now it's been blown up out of proportion, and it just feels like no matter what Aaron wanted to do, now he has to leave because of what's being said.
Right.
Like maybe he didn't even really want to go that badly. Maybe the issue wasn't that bad at all. But now the media, you and I, everyone else in the live chat around the world are saying Rodgers has got to leave. And then how do you get that trust back with the organization? Now, I'm very happy, and which is also key too, as well with this underdog theme, that the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't being talked about. Right. So that's a good thing. Like with Big Ben, there's no real offseason. I checked the news today, yesterday, and the day before, trying to see what we could have a conversation about, and there was nothing.
Right.
There's nothing being happening. We're signing cornerbacks. We're signing guys for the depth chart. We're signing guys for the off-season program. We're signing future drafts, undrafted players. But there's no big real enemy that the media can grab and say the Steelers are doing this.
Right.
You look at the Texans. Texans are in a bit of heat. We won't go into that discussion, but they're in a bit of heat.
Mm-hmm.
They're focused on the Jets now. The Jets are with the new quarterback. So this seems to me like Steelers are a great franchise, and you and I are both biased. But for some reason, Tony, why are the Pittsburgh Steelers in your mind pushed aside and not talked about?
Well, I think you always have that with teams like the Steelers and the Cowboys and those kind of franchises. People want to see the other. They want to see the underdog rise up, and they want to see a new champion. So I think that's why a lot of people are keen on the Browns. They've been rooting for the Browns to improve year in and year out. And I think now this is the year people are ready for them to really make that leap from contender to maybe having a true championship run. I think that's a part of it. And I think also the reason why people are down on a team like the Steelers is because they know that their fan base is, as you know, you're in Australia. It's worldwide. It's all over. And when we feel like the franchise is being disrespected, we're going to be more passionate in how we respond to that than maybe other fan bases would be. So I think that's part of it too.
Excellent. So I want to go into a point here as well, which I want to bring up in the live chat. And Mark, if I can get it here, Mark Tobin says in the live chat, now he believes that we're underdog because we are one and done in the playoffs and we never live up to expectations. That's a great point. What do you think about that? We haven't won a game in about 5 years.
Yeah.
Would that also feed into our status of playing the role as the underdog? What do you reckon?
Yeah, and it's that. It's the fact that Ben Roethlisberger's 39 now, and you have these two young quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, who's already proven a bit in the NFL. He hasn't proven really much in the playoffs, but he's certainly been excellent in the regular season, and Baker Mayfield. And of course, and you have Joe Burrow. So you have these three young stud quarterbacks in the division. Ben's 39, and he hasn't really looked good in his last three playoff games. They haven't looked good as a team in their last three playoff games. And that, I think that has a lot to do with it. And you know, you lose an Antonio Brown, who was a big part of their franchise, a big weapon for them. He's been gone for a couple of years now. Le'Veon Bell's been gone for a few years. So the thing that made them work, and the thing that made them contenders in the eyes of the national media, they're either gone or in Ben's case, he's older and he's coming off of a major elbow surgery. So I think that plus the fact that they've underachieved in the playoffs the last couple of years. Of course, I mean, you have to factor in injuries, which a lot of people don't. They don't want to. They conveniently forget about the injuries. They've had some really critical injuries leading into the playoffs. Probably going back to 2014. I mean, it seems like they never get away unscathed when it comes to these end of season injuries.
Maybe the NFL media is trying to turn us into the Cleveland Browns. That every year that we're just, that we might have a chance, we have an okay team, but then go nowhere. Because look, I've said in previous shows and other podcasts with Maddie and other BTSC podcasters, I feel like we have to get this one victory in the playoff, because we've had TJ Watt there and he hasn't even got a victory in the playoffs yet.
Right.
The Jaguars beat us, the Browns beat us. Maybe we just aren't flashy anymore at that level and that media spin. But it just seems very funny, because I know we have a good team, and I think there are certain players, like even with the NFL draft, what role do you think Najee Harris plays in identifying this team? And if we are the underdog, what does he play, and how does he make us successful?
Well, I think he's somebody that if Matt Canada's smart, he's going to try to build his offense around, because they seem to target a bunch of players early in the draft that were geared towards his schemes, from what I understand, from what I've read. So I think, you have to make him a focal point. Obviously, Ben is still the most important component. If he doesn't go, then the offense doesn't go. But if you can get a running game going, and if you can make Najee Harris kind of like new Le'Veon Bell. And when I say that, I mean somebody who's a 3-down back, somebody who you can give the ball to 20, 25 times a game on the ground, and somebody who you make a weapon in the passing game out of the backfield. And he's not necessarily as polished at that as Bell was coming out of school, but he's still that kind of back. So I think he could, if you make him the focal point early, and he certainly is going to have the opportunity because he's head and shoulders above better than anybody else they have on the roster as far as running back. So it's going to be a great opportunity for him to be the a star, kind of like Chase Claypool was early on, where he was a weapon from day one. So I think that's what Harris can be for them.
Do you reckon that Harris carries the rock 75% of the time, or is he's day one starter? Correct. Like, does he change the game that much? And do we use Derek Watt as fullback, and we go that way?
I don't know about the fullback part. That's interesting because I'm not sure if Ben's how much he's gonna want to take the ball under center. I know he's probably gonna do it some, but probably not as much as people would like. I think he's still gonna try to. It's still gonna be predominantly a shotgun quarterback. So you're probably not gonna see a whole lot of Derek Watt, but I'm sure Matt Canada is gonna try to utilize as many of his weapons as he can, and if that means having Watt in there as a true fullback, you didn't see a whole lot of that last year. Then I think he might get some opportunities.
Yeah, I think if we use I keep saying it wrong, Najee Harris. Now I think if we still are the underdog for some reason, and we'll go into this too. I want to talk little bit about the AFC North in just a minute. But the Browns and the Ravens are better than us, and I believe the Browns might have a solid team, right? But if we use Najee correctly and we start to play, we get off the gun and off the foot fast, and we win three games and lose one, then we have to be talked about. However, I kind of have this joking idea that I don't want the Steelers to win the first 2 games or 3 games, because then we'll be so forgotten about that when we come running down into the playoffs near the end. So I'll be like, who is this team? Like, they'll have no idea.
Right.
Whereas they're talking about Baker, they're talking about Jackson, but if you could rank them, we have to include the Bungles, right? If you could rank them, who do you rank in the AFC North? And I'll give you my thoughts after, like 1 to 4, and who do you think's the best?
I think on paper, as far as talent, I think the Browns have the best talent. But if you're going to ask me who the best team is, who I think is geared to win the division, it would be the Ravens, number 1, Browns second, and then the Steelers, and of course the Bengals. But that's just on paper. That's just going by the talent that the Browns and the the Browns and the Ravens have, and some of the question marks that the Steelers have, because the reason why I'm ranking them third really is because of the question marks on the offensive line. And now with the secondary, with the release of Steven Nelson, you don't know how things are going to shake out in the secondary. So I think if they can get that shored up, then that might change some things. But, the great thing about this year is they don't have to start off hot because there's an extra game. So you have 17 games now, and there's only 1 bye. So if you can figure out what you want to do as a team on offense and continue to improve on that, and continue to find out about guys like Harris and this new tight end Freiermuth, and to find out about these linemen and not just the guys they drafted, but guys like Banner and Shooks, to find out what you have. And of course the defense, if that defense can remain healthy and you figure some things out with the secondary, if you're hot going into the playoffs, to me, I think that's more important than winning the division and whatever seed you get. Other than the number 1 seed, I would love for them to get. But other than that, I think if they're hot going into the playoffs, I think that's going to be important for them.
Yeah, I agree, Tony. I think more than ever, and it's so funny to add that 1 extra game, but it feels like it's a lifetime adding that 1 extra game, and it makes the season longer. And I was talking to Matty P about this last week. It's hard enough to win the National Football League, and Steeler fans, I know we can't win every single year.
Right.
We have hopes to win every single year, but there are 30 teams who have a chance to win. And I didn't include the Bungles because they suck.
Right.
There's only 30 teams plus the Steelers, and the Bengals will never make the playoffs again until I'm walking on this earth. But
I tried to forget about your Bengals hate. I forgot about that.
I can't stand them. Can I change the title of this show right now and really just rip into the Bungles?
Yes, you're the host.
Yeah, look, let's go into the Bungles. They're part of the AFC North, right?
Right.
And I was talking to one of my friends on my Steelers Nation Australia Facebook page. Only a small one, but people give us a lot of hate about AB and not winning championships with him. Look what they did with AG Green. What do you think about that? They wasted his talent.
Yeah, I mean he was a great receiver, and they really didn't build anything around him. And now that they have a young quarterback, he's gone, and now they have to bring in. And they brought in T. Higgins last year. They had to draft Jamar Chase this year. So they had that receiver, and he was basically a Pro Bowler more often than not, but he could never be surrounded by a cast of players that could turn him into a champion receiver. So yeah, I mean, Antonio Brown, they might not have won a title with him, but at least they built their team around him.
Yeah, but that's why I make that point, because they give us a lot of slack about how we wasted players with Bell, Brown, guys like that, Bryant, bring him back, all that jazz. But there are other teams out there, and this National Football League is a really hard league to win. It's extremely hard to win. We are blessed to have 6 championships and have been there 8 times. There are still, I think, 12 teams who have never won a Super Bowl,
right,
or something like that. Or there's 7 haven't been in the playoffs. There's a number out there. I can't think off the top of my head. And you go into this AFC North, and I think like the way, if I could rank them, I would say at the moment, I'm not saying who's going to win the division, but I would probably say Browns are up there. Like the Browns for me now, they're not as laughable as you used to think, because they do have a good team on offense. They have Nick Chubb. They have the other running back from the Chiefs. They have Baker Mayfield, can play really good or really awesome, like a lot of quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is massive, like on the front, on the big boppers up front. And they're coming out now, and they've won a playoff game, and their culture's kind of changing. So I don't really see them laying a duck egg and going, okay, two and how many games are left? So, I don't know.
2 and 15. Yeah, I would love it. I would love that.
But that won't happen.
They're too talented for that. Yeah.
You can't at this moment. You just the way they run that football, and when I saw them versus the Ravens, I can't remember who won that game, but that game was amazing. Mm-hmm. And the Ravens are very similar. Like, you've got a good running team, a good culture there. Even though I don't like the culture, but it's that football mentality of like they want to win, they do anything to win. And then maybe that's why the Steelers might, in this underdog role, they might sit that 3rd place, because those 2 big teams like the Browns and the Ravens are still taking all the limelight and all the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
However, they're forgetting one thing, Tony. We're Pittsburgh Steelers. We won that division last year, but we still won it. And if we're getting in Najee Harris, Freiermuth, Green, some more guys to push this line forward, it wouldn't surprise me if we're not going to go 17-0, but we might keep up with the Browns and Ravens, and we might split, or we might hold that division.
Mm-hmm.
So I just find it very, very funny. And even to a point with like the draft expert, what do you know what Mel Kiper Jr. gave the Steelers?
Was it like a C minus, something like that? It wasn't a great grade. I know that.
C plus.
C plus. Okay, C plus.
Yeah, and I kind of think, and they all think, okay, we should have won a quarterback, but we know what Ben can do, and now Ben has 5 wide receivers that really are going to open this game up with Najee, but how does someone give them a C plus when nothing has really, happened just yet?
It's so funny. It's like I said last night on Friday night on the podcast. It's like nobody's ever seen a draft before, and they make these definitive statements, and they act like they stay married to their opinions. They stay committed to their opinions, and that's fine. But the Steelers addressed 3 major needs in the first 3 rounds. You can argue over what round they maybe should have focused on with various positions, but to me, I thought they brought in some pretty good players. Whether they pan out or not, I don't know. And as far as look at last year's draft class, and those, how excited everybody is about Chase Claypool and his continued development, and Alex Highsmith. If he makes that leap, and replacing Bud Dupree, maybe he's not Bud Dupree, but if he's pretty darn close, then plus you're getting Devin Bush back. Kevin Dotson's going to be your starting left guard. If he makes even more of improvements from his first year to this year. So, I mean, there's, it's this year's draft class, and we don't know about that, but we don't know about any of the draft classes, but we do know that last year's draft class was pretty darn successful, and they're only going to get better in year 2, you would think.
Yeah. The only kind of way that I see that in this mentality of being the underdog and we kind of fail and we really lose a plot and we don't progress, we're actually going backwards and we're going into more of a reset or something like that, would be if this Matt Canada offense doesn't work out, and we're not moving the ball, we're using the same plays. But something in my heart tells me that we're not gonna see that. We're not gonna see what we had witnessed through a lot of years of Randy Finkner. And I remember, look, I'm in Australia here, and I get up at 3 a.m., guys. When I get up at 3 a.m. and I turn the TV on, and I'm watching Steelers versus Browns, nice sunny day. And I'm like half awake. I'm like, what am I looking at? I don't really know just yet. And it's the only time I get up, right? But then I see something like flat, and I'm like, how are you playing like this? And then it doesn't even matter if we're down by 10 points or we're up by 7. You can still see that the Steelers were flat the last few years. And there was no look. I'm not a X's and O's guy, but there was no creativity in that offense, and that's where it kind of went stale. And I think even Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin knew this near the end, and they had to make a change. So I'm looking to see if they're going to move them out of the role of underdog, or at least fly under the radar. They still have to use this offense, and I think it's going to happen with Najee and Frymouth. And I think I think as Steelers fans now, we kind of see what might happen, and we could easily go and score 4 touchdowns or get everybody involved in the offense. But what if we do that and we win our first game, say 38-13? Will the media, would that one game set them off, or are we stuck in our role for this first 3 months of it?
I guess it would all depend on who they beat in their first game. If it's a team like last year when they played the Giants, probably nobody would be impressed, because you remember how everybody kept harping on their schedule last year. Oh, they're paper champions because their schedule's not that tough. But if they go out and they beat up on say they play the Browns in week 1 and they beat them up, or the Ravens or the Chiefs, or whoever they play the Chiefs this year, whoever a true playoff contender from last year, a team that was impressive last year, and they go in and they beat them up, then yeah, I think the media might be impressed. But at the same time, there's going to be people waiting for that other shoe to drop. Are they going to lose to an inferior opponent, that kind of thing? So I just think it would depend on who they would play in week 1.
But what's funny though, and I kind of sit back as a fan and go, the players don't care who they beat, who they verse. No. The players go out there, and it's 11 versus 11. It's one of the hardest hitting games. It's why I got into the NFL when I was watching back in the day. Remember the Titans in all films like that? I brought it before. I love this game. The players don't care if they're versing the New York Jets with a rookie quarterback, or they're versing Tom Brady at the Buccaneers, and he's like 65. They don't care who they play. They just want to play. Firstly, it gets them out, they're getting fit, but also they're making a big pay ticket. Well, they go out there and they want to win. Well, that's what you would hope for Steelers fans, that they want to win. To end on this side of the discussion about being the underdog, who do you look? I'm not going to include the Bungles again, but just the overall, just a quick one go. Is it Browns or Ravens in our way?
I'd say it's probably the Browns. I think as far as the number 2 team, I think they're going to have a hard time beating the Ravens for the division. But that's just as I sit here today on May 8th, as we're doing this live. I think it's going to be, or it's May 9th where you are, but it's going to be the Ravens, Browns, and Steelers as far as pecking order to start the year. But it doesn't mean that they can't win the division. I think the Browns are in their way as far as being able to become the Ravens' chief rival for the division in 2021.
Yeah, and that's so funny how you date it May 8th and May 9th because it is so far away for the season.
Right.
And I know we have to have some fun and talk about something, so this is why I brought up the role of this underdog. But look, it's so far away. We don't even know some of the players who are gonna wear particular jerseys. Some of the players you don't even know if they're left-handed or right-handed yet, in a certain degree.
Right.
So look, that's what it is. All right, Tony, let's go to a break here. So if you're on the YouTube, please stick around. We're having a lot of fun. It's my Sunday, almost 10:30 a.m. Your guys' Saturday. And if you're on the audio platform, just whatever you use, Spotify or whichever, just make sure you click part 2 and stick around and come back. Cheers. And we're back, Steelers Nation. How are we doing, Tony? What is going on?
I am great. This has been a fun show. I can't wait. I can't wait for part 2. This has been a lot of good football talk.
Well, not anymore. There isn't. You know what's coming up next, Tony? Have you heard this thing called Slinging the Slang?
I've heard of it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be good at it, but I've heard of it.
Just before we go into this, now I've got what I did with Jeffrey Benedict the other week, and it was a lot of fun. I chose 5 words for him to get their reaction and tell me what they mean or translate, right? Do you have what is your perception of Australia? And do you know any Aussie slang yourself? Like, don't give away too many, but 1 or 2 words, or what do you overall think? Like, what right now, like this is like an amazing experience for me being upside down, and you're in the Holy Land, which Tony lives like 5 minutes away from the stadium. Which
I can
went
touch Heinz Field, right? I can reach out and touch it.
That's amazing. Like when I went to Heinz Field, it was like the best day of my life. When I first saw it, it took me 15 years to get there. And so when I grew up watching the game from 2007, I was really a super fan. And then I went there in 2016. So all those years have passed. The only time I would see Heinz Field was on a movie, Madden, the game, ESPN, waking up at 3 a.m. So when I finally got there and I walked under that little bridge, there's a little bridge to go in the park. I'm not sure what park it's called. PNC Park, I'm pretty sure. No, that's the baseball stadium. But you go under, there's the fountain at Three Rivers, and you look across, and I was like, yes. And it was
Point State Park. Yeah.
Point State Park, yeah. I walked along under the bridge. It was cold as ever. And I went and looked at my stadium and went, wow, that's my Heinz Field. Like that's how much it meant to me being there. So if me and Tony could switch roles, that'd be great. But what, Tony, what do you think about Australia? Any words you know?
Just the usual ones like shrimp on a Barbie, that kind of thing, but nothing probably concrete. But when I think of Australia, I think of friendly folks, friendly blokes, friendly people, tough, a lot of good actors and actresses that come over here and have success, and stay over there and have success, international success. That's kind of what I think when I think of Australia. One of my favorite shows ever, the Hawaii Five-0, the reboot. Alex O'Loughlin was the star for all those years, and he's Australian. So I don't know if have you ever even heard of him?
No, I have no idea. I don't really watch TV. I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't really watch TV drama. I watch NFL, and that's pretty much it. I don't really watch anything else besides that. Yeah. Well, then, are you ready for Slinging the Slang? Because I've got 5 words for you, and I want your reaction. Okay. So the first one is it's Australian slang, but it's also, I looked it up on Google and I couldn't find it. So it might be my slang. So you might not know it. Okay. If I were to say to you, number 1, if I were to say to you, Tony, let's set up stumps over there. What do you reckon that means? Set up stumps.
Find a good place to hang out.
Yes. Yeah, I'll give you that. That's a tick. Yeah. So pretty much hey?
Like say you're in a crowded place and you want to go somewhere and talk.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah. So I've used it with my friends. I think people use it around Australia. Pretty much when you're setting up stumps means, it's like a cricket term. Like where do we pull up stumps? Where do we put the stumps up for the cricket, right? So we say that like as a joking, like where do we set up stumps? Or, at the beach, at the park. So yeah, you got that one. Yeah, I thought you weren't going to get that one. That's good. That's good. Number 2 is, what do you reckon when I say Aussie salute? What's an Aussie salute?
An Aussie salute. I'm trying to Aussie salute. I don't know.
You got no idea at all? It's hard.
A good job. A good job.
No, that's incorrect.
Okay.
An Aussie salute is, because in summer it's to wave the flies away.
Okay.
You know, we have like that many flies here in Australia. Like we have a ton. Like they're everywhere. So, but that Aussie salute that's a really old Australiana slang. That's like back in the 60s or 70s. That was a really, really old one. Now, moving on to number 3, Tony. What would you say if I said to you, "I'm knackered"? What does that mean?
Naked?
No. I might have to put this in this one in the chat. What if I said to you this? What's in the chat? I am knackered.
Oh! I get. You're inebriated, drunk.
Yeah, yes and no. I guess you could say that. It's more to do with just being flat out tired.
Oh, okay.
Like absolutely done. Like you know.
I've heard that one before, though. I have heard that one before.
Is that a slang around the world, or is that knackered? Do you use that in America?
No. It sounds like it was something I would hear from an Aussie.
Honestly, like I'm really, I should have made up some words, because I think we really can make up words and then just see your reaction too. But these are all Australiana slang. You know what? I'll give you that one. That's going to be you're 2-1 at the moment. You're doing better than the Bungles. All right. All right. Number 4. I think this might be universal as well, and I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. There could be 2 ways to say this. What do you mean? What does it mean when I say play it by ear?
That means it's up in the air. You have to see how things unfold before you make a decision. Like going out, you want to go to that place or that place. We'll play it by ear. When the time gets here, we'll decide where we want to go.
Yeah, 100%. Do you guys use that one as well over in America?
Yeah, it's pretty common.
Oh, okay. Maybe these are just normal words then, because I tried to find some really, really weird ones. And also, we've been doing our podcast now for almost a year, so we're kind of running out of slang. We might have to refresh some other ones for new listeners. All right, so now you're 4. My apologies. You're 3-1. You're 1 game above the Bungles, what they're going to get next year. Last one. I really should have made it harder then. Last one. What do you think an esky is?
An esky?
Yes.
That's pretty hard. Use it in a sentence.
Okay. G'day, mate. No, that's bad. Hang on 1 second. If I'm talking to a bloke on the phone, right? Would you mind bringing your esky over? I haven't got one.
Bottle opener.
No, but that's really close. Do you want to have one more guess? It's pretty close. It's to do with like drinks and alcohol and stuff like that.
A cooler.
Yes, yeah. It's a cooler, 100%. So in Australia, for some reason, all our objects, we call them by the brand name. So like for a pen, we say biro. Can you please, pass me the biro? We just do stuff like that all the time. And esky is a cooler. So you bring your esky along.
Okay.
And I love how here we got in our live chat, Kathy. She thinks that a kid that lives in England. Kinda.
Does it ever get cold in Australia?
Does it ever get cold here in Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, here's the funny thing about Australia. Right now, I'm wearing what would you call this? Sorry, audio listeners. But what do you call this? What I'm wearing right now?
Probably a sweatshirt, I'd say. Although it's a short sleeve sweatshirt. Right.
So in Australia, and audio listeners, come jump back right in. We call this a jumper.
Have you ever
heard that one?
I have never heard that one.
No. So for some reason in Australia, for our sweatshirts, hoodies, we call them jumpers. Now, a lot of these words, I don't know where they come from. So, like for me, like if I'm cold, or like you said, it does get cold in Australia, yeah, I'll just grab my jumper and then chuck that on. However, I'm wearing shorts. So, like in Australia, it doesn't get too cold, really. It's the lowest it gets, and I can't do the transition to Fahrenheit, but it might be like 60 or 70, maybe, if that's like 20 degrees. So that and then we don't wear the big woolly coats and stuff like that. We just wear jumpers, shorts, and then I'm ready to go. When I was living in Canada, I walked outside at 0 degrees. That's like your I can't remember 0 degrees, and I was in shorts because I was so over wearing long pants.
Wow, I'd like to live there. Other than the poisonous insects, I would love to live in Australia because I can't stand the winter anymore.
Well, that's it. Because when I went to when I was in Pittsburgh, it seems to be very cold there, right? Cloudy days, and it's cold weather, the same as the football. But here in Australia, I live on the coast. I'm 5 minutes from the beach, and our winters, they're cold, but they're not as cold as you think. And that kind of wraps up. How did you find Slinging the Slang? And you actually got another word. What do you reckon of that?
I like it. And the thing about the last one you did, we do that here in America too with brand names. We call all tinfoil Reynolds wrap. We call all tissue Kleenex. So we kind of do that. We kind of do that here too, at least in Pittsburgh anyway. I think it's a nationwide thing. Yeah,
well, I reckoned that Pittsburgh and Australia, when I was over there, we have a pretty similar accent, or like to a degree that our accent is similar, where a lot of other Americans can't understand us. Which like, if you're going to Texas, or you're going to California way, you're going out that way, then the Yinzer accent, and I was down in I can't remember where the bars are down south in that street, south side. And when I was walking around there, looking at all the Pittsburgh gear, and it was an awesome time. They loved my accent, but I also loved their accent, like just the Yinzer and how Yin's doing and things of that nature. So right. I think we are very, very similar, even though we're on different planes of the field and the world. But
that's why you're a Steeler fan.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back, and I just can't wait for this season to start. But let's get back to some Steelers football talk, and we're still going to run around the idea of are the Steelers the underdog? And I want to talk about, we have the schedule coming up soon. We won't jump into that. We have a show on BTSC. I think one or two of the blokes are moving their show forward. The Steelers preview going to look at the schedule. So, firstly, like just quickly, can the Steelers succeed as the underdog? Like, they can, right?
Absolutely, they can. I mean, one thing about the Steelers organization, we have high expectations as fans, but it's nothing like what the organization has. They want to win. They're committed to winning, and they might be underdogs to the media and to the public, but their goal is still to win a championship. And the one thing I will say about the X factor when it comes to these three teams that we talked about in the AFC North, it's cliched, but it comes back down to the quarterback play, because Ben, he may have struggled in his past few playoff games, but he still has proven that he can win on the big stage, whereas Lamar Jackson has yet to really prove that. And Baker Mayfield, I mean, he beat the Steelers at Heinz Field, but let's be honest, he didn't really have a whole lot to do with that playoff victory. It was more about the Steelers self-destructing and turning the ball over a million times. So that's really what's going to come down to. The Browns and the Ravens look great on paper, but it always comes down to the quarterback. And those two guys, meaning Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield, they have to take it to a new level if they want their teams to be champions.
Well, I believe that's very true. Like, I believe there's a lot of pressure in Baker Mayfield, and a lot of even more pressure on Lamar Jackson. Right. Can Lamar Jackson throw? No, he can't. He can run, and he's got some attributes to do with the passing game, but he's not really that sit back and pocket quarterback. Now, there's so much pressure on those two guys. Now, giving Ben the offseason now and rehabbing his arm and 1 year off, and when you really think about it, he went from that injury surgery, and then he won 12 games. Right. That's a pretty mean feat to do that, to win 12 games coming off an injury. Yeah. So there seems to be now less pressure being the underdog role. Big Ben, maybe third place, even to a certain extent in the quarterbacks, I reckon a lot of people would put Joe Burrow because they're all young faces
Right.
above Ben. Ben's the old guy in the room, but he's got that much knowledge, talent, skills, ideas, how to win this game that you wouldn't put it past him. Same with Mike Tomlin. So maybe they're sitting in the perfect role. Like I would even put it down to like a Troy Polamalu, where he knows where their ball is going to be. Maybe they know who they are and they know how to win and fight through this 17 games. It's going to be a long season now with an extra one. Right. It doesn't seem like it, but still a very hard place to win. Cracking into though, we have the schedule coming up. I believe May 11th or May 12th, and depending where you live, Australia, Japan, America. Now, the Steelers have the hardest schedule based on their percentage versus the opponents. Does that overly matter? We have the hardest schedule. What do you reckon?
That's another thing that can change because the NFL is a parody league and it's designed that way. And the teams that make the playoffs the year before, so many of them miss the playoffs the following year because it's such a close competition usually for 3 or 4 spots in each conference, really. So it matters. It's a big deal on paper, but you just don't know. Some teams that you expect to be good are probably going to fall off, and some teams that you expect to be bad are probably going to be a little bit better. So I don't think it's going to be this gauntlet that everybody thinks it is. But again, it's May, so what do I know? But I don't see that as any more of a challenge than any other schedule. If they're playing their game, if they're on their game, I'm not saying they're the best team in the NFL, but if they're this goes for just about any team, any talented team with a franchise quarterback. If they're playing well and they're establishing themselves on offense and defense, and they avoid major injuries for a change, then they're gonna be able to get through that schedule. What record they're gonna have, I don't know. 11, 12 wins, 8, 9 wins, 10 wins, I don't know. But I think if they are a playoff team, I think the most important thing for them is again, another cliche is to be playing well at the end of the year once the playoffs start, unlike last year.
Yeah, last year was just, I can't describe what happened, but I think that we've talked about it before, me and Maddie in the past. Last year, what happened, that culture, and we talked about leaders stepping up, that culture into that game, we're the best, we're going to win, and then they just didn't show up. That cannot happen again. That would, I don't mind losing by 3 points, by 7 points, by 10 points, if it was a good game. But being down 28-0, I believe, in the first quarter.
Oh, gosh.
I don't even know how you watched that game. I tried to, or I did. And then they came back, and there was a certain moment where, I'm watching with my family and friends, and they were saying, oh, they got a chance. And every play you can kind of go, yes, oh, no.
Yeah.
No, they're done. Because if you didn't get that certain drive with last 3 minutes to go, then your chances of winning that game are now 5%. Whereas if you got that first down, it's 45%. So it's a big swing, and I think that what's going to help us in being this role as well. This is the pressures on the Jackson, on the Baker to look. They've got to go and win too, haven't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Bungles have to get out of the cellar.
And they both have similar schedules. They're in the same division, so they both have fairly similar schedules. They don't have a first place schedule like the Steelers do, but they still have to play some of the same teams, a lot of the same teams from the NFC and from whatever division they have to play in the AFC. I don't remember which one, but they're going to have a fairly similar schedule. So, they're going to have it tough too, as far as their schedule. And we don't know about, are they going to stay healthy over the course of the year? There's so many things that can happen, right? I mean, it could take somebody like Aaron Rodgers going from Green Bay to Denver, and that changes everything as far as the AFC, or it could take a major injury to a Lamar Jackson or a Tom Brady, and that changes things. So yeah, there's a lot that can happen between now and then. But I'm like you, I can't wait for the season to start.
Wouldn't it be great though? Because I believe the Ravens do have the second hardest schedule. I'm not sure where the Browns are, but wouldn't it be great if we had the hardest schedule and we won a lot of games and the Ravens didn't win any? and that would separate us even more. Okay, you've said all these words about us. Actually, in the media, you've said no words about the Steelers.
Right.
We go out there. And once the season's done, we go 13 and whatever it is, 5 or 4. And then the Ravens finish off with 7 wins. It's not going to happen like that, but that would be so awesome to see because the Steelers had their back against the wall. And I believe during the 2008 run, I think we had the hardest schedule then. Is that correct from memory?
It was the hardest schedule, I think, in a quarter of a century. And they won 12 games. And they struggled in a lot of those games. But once the playoffs got rolling, they were playing their best. And that's what you have to do. Their offense struggled all year. But once the playoffs started, they were great. And the defense, was consistent all year. One of the most dominant defenses statistically in the history of the league.
I've just got one more question, Tony, before we jump into questions.
Okay.
Will the media care when the Steelers win that number 7?
Oh, they'll have to care then. Even if they don't care, it won't matter because you won't be able to take it away. And it'll put Ben in a place that few quarterbacks have gone. Yeah, Brady has 7 now, but
Hasn't Brady got 6? No.
No. Well, yeah, the Patriots won. He won 6 with the Patriots and won last year. So yeah, 7.
Oh,
but
yeah, okay.
But as far as teams are concerned, or as far as quarterbacks, there aren't many to have 3. So that would put Ben in rarefied air. That would take all the pressure off of Tomlin as far as somebody who, quote unquote, won with somebody else's players many years earlier. Even though I think that's a silly argument that people make, but it would change the so many narratives nationally as far as the perception of Ben, the perception of Mike Tomlin, the perception of the Steelers culture. People are all, people harp on so many things, TikTok, all that stuff. When a team doesn't win a championship, there's so many things to look at and blame, other than maybe the talent on the field and the execution. But if they win that title, it'll validate so many people.
I just think it'd be one of the best feelings in a long time. I'll probably shed a few tears if that does happen.
Oh, yeah.
And for one thing that I would love to see if it did happen, and this is maybe my own view, it would a lot of fans out there give them a bit of break and you wouldn't have to diss us anymore. Steeler fans, we always want that championship. So if we get it this year and it has a great season, then here you go. Here's your trophy. Just settle down for a little bit, all right?
Right, yeah. There you go. I like how you said that.
It's not every year we have to get one. And I understand it's a very hard game, but it's like, oh, we didn't do this, we didn't do that, or he sucks and that guy's terrible, or fire Tomlin. Okay, here's your trophy. Let me enjoy my as a fan watching the sport. I'll have a few tears, I'll have a few laughs, probably have a few beers watching it and be very stressed. But then for me, watching the next season, I could sit back, I'd be happy. I'd be like, well, I won it last year.
Right. I like how you said that. You should create a TikTok video and put it on Twitter if they win and say, you got your 7th title. Now settle down for a bit and say it with the Aussie accent. And I think that would go over well. It would calm a lot of nerves. It would be very soothing.
If I had TikTok, I'd be banned in the first hour. I don't think they would like my views. I'm too honest for a lot of these people. They wouldn't like it.
That's good though.
I would last a good 30 minutes on there. I try and steer clear of those social medias. Even on the Facebook, to a certain extent, is when you watch a game and then I've always said it before. You watch a game and it's like, we're down by 10 points, first quarter, 3 minutes to go. The game's over. It's over. Fire someone, get rid of Ben. He sucks.
Oh yeah, that's pretty common.
No, the game's not over. It's still 3 quarters to go. You still have halftime. You still have to eat oranges, and you eat your oranges, and then you're ready to go second half. TJ Watt's going to come in second half. They got a new game plan. So I try and steer clear on the Facebook on those game days. Even when now I'm working for Behind the Silver Curtain, I don't get involved in the Slack chat while you guys are watching the game too, because a lot of guys are 3 or 4 minutes in front of me.
Yeah.
I like to enjoy it and just sit back and watch the football and then analyze it after. But during it, it's even to a certain extent when you're up by 14 points. Oh, this game's over. We've got this, and then next minute, we're down.
Yeah, it's easy to go the other way too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're starting to wrap up the show here. And if anyone has any questions in the live chat, we've got 5 minutes here, or 5 to 7 minutes. But Tony, how'd you find today's show? Overall, talking to an Australian.
You kidding me? This is so much fun. I love it. I loved it. This was great. It was very therapeutic. I think you did a great job as the host, and it was a lot of great football talk. It was fantastic. How about you? What did you think?
Yeah, I feel it just flies. Honestly, it just goes super fast, and we're now 55 minutes in. I believe we covered a lot. I think that's the main aim today. I just wanted to understand where the Steelers kind of sit in the landscape of things, with 31 teams vying for the Super Bowl. I wanted to try and see, and I say 31 guys because I hate the Bungles. And I think at this moment, and you even said it in part one or early part two, you said, it's May 8th or it's May 9th. There's a long way to go.
Right.
So we've got the schedule coming out, which is going to be great. Please check that out on Behind the Steel Curtain. The fellas are going to go through the schedule. I know I'll be in the live chat. So we have that. Then we have mini camp. We have rookie camp, mini camp, training camp, all these dates. I believe Tony even said he's going to drive down there and do some interviews.
Maybe. Yeah. It would. Or at least I'll yell at people and say, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And they'll say, "No. Where's your media credentials?" But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I'm definitely close enough. Yeah, I'll have my Behind the Steel Curtain shirt on. That's all I need.
Yeah, just say, "Mate, I'm Tony," and they'd be like, "Oh, Tony."
Well, if I said it with that accent, they would let me right in. If I said it with that accent, it would be my all the clearance I would need.
I think that accent might be heading off the Steelers soon, because I believe, as Donald Nolan says here, who the punt and kick returners. Oh, I butchered that one, but still, I believe Barry might be on the out. But Donald Nolan says here, who are the punt and kick returners for this year? Who do you reckon?
Well, I think as far as the punt returner, it's going to be Ray McLeod. The kickoff returner, I'm not sure. I don't. Who was it last year? I forget. But was Ray the kick returner 2 last year? But I know he was an excellent.
I believe he was, but I don't know who was beside him.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I think Ray McLeod. I think they finally found a suitable replacement for Antonio Brown as far as a very valuable and dangerous punt returner. So he definitely has that job sewn up already.
I reckon for a little bit there, Ray got in his, and I'm not him at all, right? But I think Ray got into his head a little bit, because he was really successful in the first 7 games. And then for some reason, he kind of was like second-guessing himself on his natural playing style. And then he wasn't busting out the big runs anymore. We have a super chat from Snowman for $5. Cheers, Snowman. If you had the choice, what old Steelers would you bring back? What old Steeler, Tony?
Like a really old Steeler or a recently departed Steeler? Well, if I had my choice all time, it would have to be Rod Woodson, because he was a game changer. He was, in my opinion, he was up there with Mel Blount. You could 1A, 1B, whatever. I think Rod Woodson was just such a pleasure to watch, and I'd love to see him back, in his prime. How about you?
For me, it's my favorite. I might get a little bit of hate for this, but he's my favorite player, I think, ever, would be James Harrison. I just love the way he played the game with such intensity. Yes, some of those shots were not legal, and that's how he played it. And I don't think he was a vicious player where he was going out to intent to hurt people. I just believe he wanted to hit them as hard as he could and force fumbles and things like that. But James Harrison probably wouldn't survive in today's league. I don't believe, the way his style of hitting and the other stuff around that. But look, he was so fun to watch learning the game.
Oh yeah.
We have Steeler Chick here for one question. She says, "Mark, are you coming to Heinz Field?" If I can, I will. It's all these things are playing out with the CV-19 around the world, but let's just say when I went in there in 2016 won't be the last time. I've been to America 7 times now, and I've been to Pittsburgh 3 times, and I consider Pittsburgh my home. And as Tony's living there, so yeah, and I've got, I'm coming to Tony's house for a beer for sure.
Woo! Yes,
and we got All right,
I'll have to clean again. I cleaned today. I'll have to clean again.
You got about 2 years notice, mate. So
Okay.
when we get in there. Brian Harrington says here. Oops, that's the wrong one. Donald Nolan says we had the kick returner was
okay.
Ray. Brian Harrington says, how many yards will Harris rush this year? Predictions.
Well, I think if he it's going to be diluted a bit because of the extra game. But I think if he's the starter and they can figure things out with the offensive line, I think he could get close to 1,000 yards. I mean, because we've seen that in the past with rookie running backs. I mean, if you get a really good one and he figures things out, and then the offense is structured around him, he could be a really productive back in his rookie year.
So my prediction here is I need to look up the stat, but whatever the Steelers rookie rushing record is, I believe he gets 1 yard more.
There you go.
I think that for him to make an impact on this team, to really put him in the spotlight, and for him to be our guy, is he will get 1 more yard and 1 more touchdown. And I can't remember off memory who that Steelers rookie rushing leader or rushing touchdown is, but whoever that is, he'll take that place and he'll have a really big rookie year. But it's really going to come down to how is this Steelers offense? Are they going to use him like a bell cow back, or are they going to sit back and play Ben style and pass 30, 40 times a game? So that's going to be the real big question, which comes into another question via Mark Tobin. Will Claypool be number 1 receiver this year?
I think he's going to. I think he almost. Well, I think it's probably going to be Deontay as far as who gets the most targets. But I think as far as who's going to be their main passing weapon, it's definitely going to be Chase Claypool. He's too good. I think he's going to be a superstar in my personal opinion.
So Claypool, and then heading into Juju in the slot, maybe Deontay on the other side, Washington to help out. I think it's going to be a lot like last year. Yeah, if all these guys can contribute and play great football, then we've got some really talented receivers, and then you still got Big Ben back there. So, and Kyle Smith says here that Franco Harris is the rookie rushing yard. He owns the record. So, yeah, however much that is, I'd like to see Najee turn it up and have a dig, and I know he will. He's an absolute star. You can see it on his film. You can see it in his presence, in his conversations with people. He's got a humble heart, and as we learn, we learn more about him and we watch him in the preseason. I can't wait for that. I'm so excited for the preseason to see some football. I'm so excited to watch the highlights and see who's going to be on the quarterback depth, who's going to fill in behind safety, who's going to be the new gunner, all things of that nature. Now, Tony, before we wrap it up, I just want to say, I'm glad to have you here, but what are your last thoughts? And what's going on? What are we doing this year? Steelers going to win?
I think they're gonna I think they're gonna make a run as far as for the division title. Whether they win or not, I don't know, but I think they're gonna prove a lot of people wrong, because I don't think they're as bad as people want them to be. I think a lot of it is people want them to be bad. I think if Ben, he's gonna have a normal offseason to get ready, unlike last year where he had to basically rehab his elbow and hope and make sure that was okay. So I think they're gonna make a run for the AFC North, and I think they're gonna make the playoffs regardless of whether they win the division or not. That's how I think it's gonna go. I think they're gonna shore up their line. They're gonna find the answers in the secondary, and they're gonna be a pretty good team by the end of the year, unlike last year when they were struggling.
So that's a great point. And before I end the show here, maybe that's what the Steelers fans. Maybe this is the year that we had that Big Ben, and he's still coming off injury. But now this is the year that they said, "Oh, Big Ben, you better turn it up and turn it out." However, the spotlight's off Big Ben.
Right.
It's still a little bit of pressure, but it's like no one's really talking about him because he was meant to go and win the Super Bowl last year, and that could be his last year. But maybe if he just sits back a bit, and now we've got the running back and Frymouth in the center. I think we always do, but I see great things. For the Steelers team, and like I said, guys, we won't know until come around September. And look, maybe I've got work by then. I'll win $1 million, and I'm coming to Tony's house. And can you walk down to Pittsburgh? This is crazy. Can you walk down to the stadium
It would be a pretty long walk, but we could definitely drive there in 5 minutes. I got you. I'll give you a ride, Mark. No problem. We'll get right. We'll get in my car and we'll be there in 5 minutes.
See, that's insane. That's insane. That I went there in 20. I've been there 3 times, and you would have been there 3 times. You know what I mean? We would have been in the same city. We would have been to the Lombardi brothers, or we would have been the same subway, or the like. That kind of does my my little head in there. But look, I'm going to wrap the show up, guys. Steeler Chick, thanks for that great show. Mark and Tony, this is awesome. Tony's now an Aussie. He's learned a few words today. I had a lot of fun, guys. Look, please check out the Behind the Steel Curtain website. Great articles from Tony and all the rest of the gang. And awesome videos. And I know that the big one, the next step now, the big one is the Steelers schedule coming out. We want to find out who we're versing week 1. So, yeah, cheers, guys. Much appreciated. And, Tony, send us out.
It was so much fun talking to you, Mark. It was great. You did a great job. Let's give it up for Mark Davison. He did a great job tonight, and it was fun. Go Steelers. Talk to everybody next time.
All right. Go Steelers.